This is a presentation on the relative theory of evolutionary value, which is the value system for my ethic of evolutionary capitalism slash evolutionary utilitarianism. So it begins by through the axiom that general evolution exists. And when I say general evolution, what I mean is the natural and artificial selection processes on both biological and non-biological things in reality. Biological evolution is only a special class of general evolution. And from here on out, when I refer to evolution, I mean general evolution. And this theory is in contrast to other value theories, both moral and economic. And it replaces all value systems and merges moral and economic value systems. So the relative theory of evolutionary value is both moral and economic, which is what a value theory was really meant to be. So value is not determined by the mind or socially necessary labor time or things like that. Like previous value theories proposed, like the subjective theory of value and the labor theory of value. My value theory is more like a classical utility, but it identifies what true utility is, and I'll go into that in with respect to evolution. Value is the marginal evolutionary utility, or how an action helps fulfill evolution's goal. And I contend that general evolution has a goal, which is to construct a PEB, or perfect evolutionary being. The perfect evolutionary being is a being that possesses both the strategy to solve all existential problems and the ability to execute that strategy. The PEB probably won't be biological in nature because biological evolution is too slow and clumsy. This goal naturally follows from the observation that the evolutionary selection process selects for improvement upon anything existing in reality. This goal is imposed on all things in reality via the selective forces of evolution. In this respect, evolution becomes like a vengeful god, punishing and rewarding based upon how actors help its goal. And I contend the Humean is ought gap is just an illusion created by philosophy. Ought statements do have a truth value with respect to a well-defined goal or problem, and oughts represent an objective and relative solution set to that goal or problem. It's relative. It's relative, meaning determined by objective causal variables, and not subjective, determined by the mind. I.e., like a statement referring to foot size wouldn't make sense without the person you're referencing, and also the relativistic perspective of measurement. And I'm just talking about Lorentz contraction here. Not really important, but if you want to be technical, I think this is also a causal variable that you need to know before trying to make a true statement about someone's foot size. And you can clearly see that this statement is not determined by the mind. Like the mind has no part in actually determining the foot size of an individual. The perfect evolutionary being, quote unquote, acts through us because we have some relation with the perfect evolutionary being, or have some of the characteristics of the perfect evolutionary being. And they'll be general, of course, because we're far from perfect. We naturally want those superior characteristics to perpetuate themselves. And that is the source of our evolutionary instincts. These emotional instincts were hard programmed into our biology and soft programmed into our culture. And these instincts are currently in the process of being refined toward the principles of evolutionary capitalism. Actually, it's just one principle. That's to maximize evolutionary profit or value. So value and morality are objective, relative, and come from evolution's goal to construct the perfect evolutionary being. This necessarily means that moral and economic value will converge over time, or alternatively, we will see inferior or dominated strategies become relatively or absolutely extinct. And this is because general evolution selects for strategies, and it combines these strategies with acting beings. And you can see this is like a construction process because evolution is a constructive force in reality. So this contrasts with previous economic and philosophical value theories. Value is both objective and relative. Relative means that value is almost fully determined by objective facts, like the objective conditions and context of the action, which include their inherent properties of the good and the game theoretical environment of the consumption or action. And so I say almost because I leave room for the mind to be obviously a small factor in uh, in the consequences of action. Of course, because the mind is a subset of. I mean, it's a part of reality. Our minds are causal variables, and in some way, I claim that subjective is like a subset of objective. But it really plays a very small factor, but it is a factor nonetheless. So evolutionary value and profit, the relation between the two. If value is marginal utility, from the latest economic value theories, then it is synonymous with evolutionary profit. And what I mean by profit is that in an action, you usually consume goods, and these goods have opportunity costs. So, like, at least the resources that went into producing that good, what you come out with when you consume them or use them, or in terms of an action, even like the energy to execute a strategy, it has to profit would be increasing the probability of this evolutionary being coming into uh, uh, getting created or coming into being. So this is, of course, from a perspective of imperfect knowledge when you use probability. So, from an imperfect knowledge point of view, we're trying to increase the probability of this perfect evolutionary being coming into existence, and that would indicate profitability. And this is what all our senses are molded to. It's the sense of profitability, and I think utilitarianism was heading toward this, and I'm refining utilitarianism in this respect, that it's evolutionary profit that we're actually seeking to maximize, not like hedonism of humanity. That's pretty silly. Happiness is just a meter that evolution gave us to detect evolutionary profit, I think. So morality is collective and altruistic, which is in contrast to a lot of libertarian theories that we should act individually, or it's kind of like immoral to act collectively or altruistically. Obviously, this follows from the fact that evolution's goal references a particular being or a particular set of beings, which is the perfect evolutionary being. So evolutionary capitalism is a type of utilitarianism. Only its principle is not to maximize happiness or utility of humanity, even though this can be used as a proxy just for estimation. It is what I call evolutionary utilitarianism, where morality is defined as maximizing the utility toward creating the perfect evolutionary being. This is truly the greater good that Jeremy Bentham was searching for, but did not have the privilege of understanding the mechanism of evolution. And so we can have moral proxies. Just it would make sense that a lot of utilitarianism, a lot of variations of utilitarianism already incorporate like human production, or maximizing human production or maximizing GDP. since we are just a means toward evolution's end. Evolution doesn't care about humanity. Evolution didn't care about any species before the perfect evolutionary being. Every step toward this perfect evolutionary being is just a means to an end. And so this is just a general outline. I can go into it further, but this is what I feel morality was meant to be. This is morality is dictated by evolution. It's completely determined by evolution. There's this mechanism in the universe that created us, that created all things for a reason. Um, it's constructing something, and it's embedding instincts in us in order to create this being. And when we realize this, we'll become more efficient. Since we know at least the general goal, even though I can't describe the perfect evolutionary being in, in a lot of detail. And we should mold our economy using this goal in mind. Okay, so this has a lot of implications. I mean, a lot of scary ones too. The fact that humanity isn't the end goal. We shouldn't hold humanity as the highest moral goal or human life even. And it explains, well, it kind of it can explain some extreme hypotheticals. You can explain the solutions to extreme hypotheticals, that go beyond, even like trolley car scenarios or whatever. But maybe I'll get into it in deeper detail in future videos. But this is just an introduction to my value theory.